Welcome back. As expected, a lot of players on waivers today, but also a trade to talk about. Small trade, but it's there. Sam Lafferty's been traded to the Vancouver Canucks by the Toronto Maple Leafs for a 2024 fifth-round pick. Lafferty will be a solid addition to the Canucks' fourth line. He can penalty kill. There's a little bit of offense there as well. One thing with Vancouver's fourth line, forever it seems, is there's been no offense. There's been no generating of chances from that bottom six, and especially on the fourth line. So maybe we'll see more balance of those four lines for Vancouver. And for Toronto, they need to get under the salary cap. So this is the kind of move you make when you have to get under the salary cap. And now today's waivers. And some of these players are being waived for cap reasons and will stay on the team once they clear. If they clear, we'll see which ones do. Starting with Boston, Patrick Brown and AJ Greer on waivers for them. I thought Greer was okay in the games that he played, but he usually is able to clear. Coughlin, waived by Carolina, a young defenseman they picked up in a trade. Last summer they picked up Coughlin in a trade, right? So he has not advanced to the NHL level at this point. We'll see if anybody picks him up on waivers. Joey Anderson, waived by Chicago. He's passed through waivers before in his career. Riley Tufte, who has passed through waivers himself, but I think Colorado's going to want to keep him around. Tufte had a good preseason, so maybe you waive him now and think, hopefully he gets through and clears. He should. While he had a good preseason with Colorado, it doesn't mean if another team picked him up that he'd pick up where he left off in Colorado somewhere else. Damiani's been waived by Dallas, probably clears as well. Zach Aston Reese, who was just signed by Detroit, now gets placed on waivers, either ends up going to the American Hockey League or potentially ends up somewhere else. So, can make your head spin when you're one of those players who's going on waivers and going all over. Usually it's a goaltender. We'll see if there's a goaltender this year that does what Eric Comrie did a couple years ago, what Magnus Hellberg did last season, and just keep getting waived and moved around. Anton Forsberg was another one a couple years back. For the Oilers, Gleason, Lavoie, I should say, and Lane Peterson all waived. And I'm saying Lavoie because it's Raphael Lavoie, right? So Quebec-born Lavoie should be, and if it's not a Quebec-born player, probably Lavoie. Lane Peterson on waivers as well, and we'll see if all three players clear for the Edmonton Oilers. Florida waives Zach Dalpe, Casey Fitzgerald. Ludwig is on the waiver wire as well. Anderson Dolan waived by the LA Kings. Montreal kind of surprises people, not with waiving Armia. I saw Montreal fans calling that one during the first round of waiver wire players for Montreal. But Lindstrom being on waivers, a bit of a surprise. He was picked up in the trade this summer. He's on waivers. Does he clear? Does he end up getting sent down? Again, teams have to finalize their rosters tomorrow. Is there a team that looks at Gustav Lindstrom and says, you know what? He's an improvement over what I've got in my blue line currently. Imama has been waived by Montreal, or by Ottawa. Montreal's here, Ottawa's here. Keep it straight, Shannon. There's a lot of teams. Pittsburgh, busy. Friedman, White, Hellberg, Hinostroza, Zohorna, all on waivers. Again, Hellberg did not pass through waivers last year. He ended up being moved around the league quite a bit. So we'll see. We'll see whether or not Hellberg gets through waivers. Probably does. But again, keep an eye on Tampa. The other thing I found interesting was Detroit did not send down a goaltender. So there are certain teams that had 3 goaltenders that still do. And so we'll see how things shake down with those rosters, right? And how long these teams carry 3 goaltenders. Detroit right now, 3 goaltenders. On the St. Louis front, McEachern, Rosen, Subban, and Walker. Subban, a goaltender as well, who's kind of bounced around the league now. Nathan Walker's an interesting one. Does he pass through? Probably does pass through waivers. Kelly Rosen's one that I still think is kind of an underappreciated defenseman around the NHL. For Tampa Bay, Bogosian, a bit of a surprise, Zach Bogosian on waivers, but again, salary cap, right? And Fortier on waivers too. Toronto, busy with the waiver wire. Again, if there's a team that has a potential salary cap issue. It looks like Minton has won himself a spot on the roster as well, so good on him. But Benoit, Clifford, Gambrell, Martin Jones, so there's a goalie that potentially ends up in Tampa, Lagesson, and Lajoie. Gambrell's a bit of a surprise for me, too. I would not be surprised to see Dylan Gambrell picked up on the waiver wire, but Martin Jones, that may end up being a little bit too tempting for a Tampa Bay team that needs to overcome the loss of Vasilevsky for a while. The Vancouver Canucks waived Studnicka and Wolanin. The waiving of Studnicka was seen as being directly related to them acquiring Lafferty and their salary cap issue. Now, I'm wearing Abbotsford because I really hope that Wolanin would be given an opportunity for Vancouver. He gets waived. I do think he clears waivers and ends up back in Abbotsford, so I'll be leading that Wolanin cheering section because I think he's great. I do. I think Christian Wolanin's an excellent player, and I don't understand necessarily why Vancouver doesn't keep him around and give him a shot at the lineup, because anytime he's played with the Canucks, I think he's played well. But again, management not as sold on him as I am. Denisenko being waived by Vegas is interesting because they just picked him up from Florida. Could Florida take him back? Does he end up somewhere else? Does he clear this time? Winnipeg, they waive Capobianco, Delia, and Janssen Fjallby. Janssen Fjallby is also moved on waivers. Delia is a third goaltender, not likely to end up being picked up, I wouldn't think. For Anaheim, so these waiver wire pickups were reported by Elliot Friedman after. So it looks like these ones came out after. Agazino, Stalock, and Lassie Thompson is back on waivers. So there's another one that was just picked up on waivers. He's back on waivers, Lassie Thompson. And Stalock being a goaltender, keep an eye on that. But again, Stalock I think is 36. I don't think there's a problem with him clearing waivers. Arizona raises some eyebrows a bit here. Travis Boyd had a very good season for them last year. I'm kind of surprised he's on the waiver wire. Prosvetov is a goaltender, young goaltender. And it felt like Arizona was getting ready for him to maybe be one of the top two goalies on the team. Obviously not this year, but maybe next year. Well, now he's got to clear waivers. And Zach Sanford on waivers for Arizona as well. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Which of these players, if any, do you think gets picked up? Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.